Are we ready? Hello everyone, I am Meher Auntie. Yes, Auntie, if you're younger than me, you really should be calling me Auntie, shouldn't you? You know me because I fought Zia and I'm a very important member in Women in Action Forum with Women in Action Forum. I really did fight Zia and I can't retire because, legacy, it's very important. The problem is that none of these young feminists can even replace me or replace any of us here at WIF because they didn't fight Zia, and it's just incredible that we did what we did by fighting Zia. What did you do? Definitely didn't fight Zia. So the truth is, I'm incredible. I have the astounding ability to do contradictory things at the same time. For example, I know how to work with the state and against the state at the same time. That's a special kind of talent, I have a very long career in gatekeeping, bullying, abusing, gaslighting, violating confidentiality, appropriation, and dodging accountability. I'm just now, however, exhausted by the bullying of younger feminists. Their truths are always lies. No, really, they're the worst. They really are the worst. They show up in saris without proper blouses. I mean, can you believe that some of them actually wear bras with their saris? It's absolutely unacceptable. And the other problem is they make such a big deal out of trauma as if they are the first and only people on earth to have trauma. It's very common in Pakistan. We all have trauma, we've all lived with trauma, we all deal with trauma. They have no idea how much trauma there is in the working classes. They need to really check their privilege. Because, really, the kind of trauma poor people have, these women cannot. They cannot even come close to it. So it's just really difficult dealing with them, and I'm sure all of you are having a hard time, the rest of you seasoned, incredible feminists who actually were able to fight Zia and not hear excuses like we weren't even born yet. I mean, what kind of an excuse is that, right? It's just, they really don't even understand our local culture. That is the level of privilege we're talking about. They speak English. They speak so much English that they call us patriarchs. It is shocking because if they understood indigenous feminism, they would call us Ranis, wouldn't they? Instead of patriarchs, they would call us Ranis. But they don't. Anyway, they've been harassing me a lot, and I really don't understand because I fought Zia. Now, I have a very special talent, and you all know about it. I excel at what is called DARVO. DARVO is deny, attack, reverse the victim and offender. This is it's a very good technique. And it's straight out of the Feminist Narcissist Playbook. And it's part of my official training manual, which I'm finally making public because I may not retire, but I do, unfortunately, have to die. Why do I have, I do have to die. Yeah. Anyway, the official training manual is called Zalalat. So here are some things you should do if you have an infestation of young feminists like we've had multiple times in the past few decades at WIF, and we've successfully managed to get rid of all of them. So it's very important to play this really well. Teamwork. Teamwork is so important. Remember, the rest of my allies who fought Zia are the only true feminists who will understand this, and they have been very much a part of this playbook, which we call Zalalat. So one of the best ways is to have a bit of both going on, be nice and awful at the same time. And because, it's very important that they shrink to become good minions and get in line, otherwise we don't need them around. I mean, they didn't even fight Zia, and they don't know their privilege. Calling us patriarchs instead of Ranis. So one good way to do this is to talk about them in third person repeatedly. So if they're raising their hands or if they're making a point, turn around to the auntie next to you and say, what is she talking about? What is she even saying? What is she saying? And demand that they call you auntie, because sometimes at meeting they'd slip up and say Meher, and then we have to say, oh my God, she called me Meher and didn't call me Meher. Auntie. Very important to do that. So activate the gaslighting early. Deny talking to them about them in third person. So as they're objecting, saying, why are people talking about me in third person? What is she saying? Is she objecting to being talked about in third person? But who's doing that? It's very important to do these kind of things. And always remind them to check their privilege. And remember, given that it's really important to maintain a hierarchy, but pretend we don't. It's just like it's important to pretend we have a movement, because how else are we supposed to get funds in government positions? Anyway, there are some excellent tactics. So we have a couple of tactics that have worked very successfully, and a lot of workplaces in Pakistan use these tactics. It's a very common technique. So one is always keep bullies around. Always keep bullies around. There should be some designated bullies. One should be a little older and elderly, so you can pull the age card and say कि खाला को नहीं कहना, आंटी को नहीं ऐसे कहना, आंटी से apology करके ख़त्म करो. And the other should be working class. It really doesn't matter if they're a factory owner and a fashion designer or whatever. They could have crores. As long as they allege their roots are working class, that's what's really important. Because when these offensive younger feminists come in, then you can unleash this and get them to check their privilege in light of class. Now, some of them are really stupid. They're saying stupid things like, they have more money now, and so they are not working class. I mean, क्या इनको पाकिस्तान की कोई समझ है? Do they even understand this country? Money doesn't buy class. I know this, everyone knows this. हम सबको पता है, हमने अपने बच्चों की शादियाँ कराई हैं, हमने रिश्ते लेके गए हैं, we know. So I don't understand what their problem is. Remember, always have someone whose roots are working class. It's very important. It's very important that that person also constantly tell these young feminists that they're awful and they've done nothing in their lives and they need to check their privilege and they didn't fight Zia, all this kind of stuff. So one thing to do is usually at meetings, especially at meetings where they show up, one bully will be screaming, fuck off, fuck off, fuck off the whole time, and another bully will be yelling absolutely weird things that people can't answer. So for example, some girls who decided to ride bikes showed up and thought it was a feminist move. I mean, on what planet is riding a bike in the public sphere in Lahore a feminist move? So the other bully really gave it to them and properly, made a point that, oh, Ullu ke patho, how could you be riding a bike? तुमने bicycle क्यों चलाई है? तुम्हारे पास अगर गाड़ी और गाड़ी के अंदर AC है तो bicycle क्यों चलाते हो? अपने बड़े घरों में जाते हो? कौन हो तुम लोग bicycle चलाने वाले? And when they look a bit shocked, giggle. Enable the bullies and giggle, never apologize. And अगर वो ये भी oh तुम लोग कौन हो? तुम लोग तो कभी हमारे हाथ नहीं आ सकते. You can't be feminist. You are not feminist. You didn't fight. How dare you ride a bike? तुम्हारे पास गाड़ी है तो बाइक पे क्यों आए हो? तुम लोगों को क्या पता मैं working class हूँ, तुम working class नहीं हो? That kind of shit. Make sure that really hits home and let them have a good yelling for a very long time, and also make sure the other person is yelling fuck off the whole time. And then it's very important to gaslight them and say this never happened. What are you talking about? This absolutely never happened. And of course, the trick is to also make an effort to say this while it's happening. So if a person is screaming, fuck off, and a person is going, oh, what was that? You say, what was that? You're right. What was that? What's going on? And they say, well, somebody just yelled at me or abused me. You say, hey, what are you talking about? We need to move on. I mean, stop this drama, business as usual. And if they make a big deal, just say, beta, I think you need a psychiatrist. Hamare kaan baj rahe hain. This will really stop them from ruining everything which they do. I mean, we keep telling them, we're really sick of you. Why do you come here? You want to use us. They don't know what we're saying when it comes to using us. But of course they're using us. They're using us because we are the giants whose shoulders, they all stand on, because we fought Zia. And if we hadn't fought Zia, these women would have no rights right now. They would have no rights whatsoever. I wish they would understand this. And so one way to also, put them in their place is when they come to meetings, is leave some notes around about how they're idiots and how they're just really stupid and what do they think they're doing and they're here to use us. And never ever tell them what you think they're going to use you for, because it's important to keep them very confused. So these tactics have generally successfully worked in the past. Usually they don't come back. However, there are some who are a bit tenacious and are willing to tolerate this and do come back. I have some suggestions for those guys too. So for one thing, if they do some work, make them redo the work. Make them redo the work on the silliest things, you know. I mean, tell them the grammars how to play, something or the other, take a while in delaying, then tell them foreign karke do. And of course, once they do something and they put their time, effort, energy, all of it in, here's what you do. So for example, they'll put something in a group, or they'll share something on email and you want to criticize them, but you don't want to do it openly. Make an effort to make phone calls which are about 1 or 2 minutes long, in which you just scream at them going, "Tumhe kya kiya hai? This poster is not whiff. This is not like us." And then if the person speaks up, you can just deny it, because, you know, they're not going to be recording calls. I mean, if they do, it's off with their heads, right? Absolutely. So make that effort to call them and scream at them. It's very important to do that. And it's very important to keep saying these kind of weird things. I mean, if they ask, what is a whiff poster? How can I make a poster like you? It's an inanimate object, right? They can't make it like me. That's the funny thing. They'll never know what it is. And then, of course, the Zia privilege check has to happen. They won't know because they didn't fight Zia. It's very important, you know, it's very important to remember this. Another thing is to make membership difficult enough for it to become almost like Schrodinger's cat. You know, it's not really, it's there and not there at the same time. Make sure boomers are members no matter what. They can disappear for 2 years to go on holiday in Antarctica and come back. And it's absolutely fine. But younger members, if they have even work emergencies or surgeries or anything like a death in the family, absolutely unacceptable. I mean, did we stop this for Zia? Did we stop people from dying? Did we stop people from, you know, any of this? No, we still fought Zia. Inki dedication achhi nahi hai. So it's important to remind them, इन्होंने कुछ किया भी नहीं है ज़िंदगी में, they've done nothing. We have to keep certifying them as useless, they've done nothing. And we also have to keep asking them, are you sure you're a member? Even after making them a member, we have to be like, are you really a member? It's really important to do this. Another thing that you could do is get the designated bully to send a nasty email to someone who's showed up at WIF, and if they have a mother at WIF, that's even greater, because then you send an email along the lines of, how dare you bring your daughter, do you think this is a family business, you need to check your privilege, your daughter did not fight Zia. Very important to do that. So another thing is triggering. You know, they go on about how triggered they are, so why not trigger them and make them stronger? So one way we do that is acting like the TERFs that we are. You know, we really do not understand trans rights, and therefore we believe in trolling trans women obsessively. So it's very important to keep telling trans women that they are more privileged in the trans hierarchy, because we know everything, right? So make an effort to tell trans women, but you're more privileged than a lesbian, but you're more privileged than a trans man. And you please do feel free to ask, you know, very offensive questions about their biology. For example, if a trans person has gotten married, had children, you know, how did that really happen? And grill them openly. You know, trigger everyone. Trigger unit, absolutely important. Now, of course, we do have a special gaslighting unit as well for the really tough ones. Really tough ones. People who will say things like they have a degree in this. Do you have a degree in Zia? Do you have a degree? You have a degree in being useless. You have a degree in doing nothing in your life, for sure, because you didn't fight Zia. So we call it the special gaslighting unit. If they demand accountability, tell them you'll give it. Then defame them all over town. All over elite Lahore, go around talking about how they want to murder me. They want to kill me, they want to murder me. If they ask for accountability, declare it murder. Go as far as saying, इन्होंने तो शायद चाय में जहर डाल के पिला रहे हैं हमें. They'll poison you. They're poisoning our minds, right? So what's wrong with saying they'll actually poison us? There's nothing wrong. Also, bully their friends. Add their friends to WhatsApp groups. Zaleel karke chodo. You know, just how dare you? You are either with us or against us. We learned from the Americans. I mean, when we took USAID, we were learning from them after all. Make an effort to also forward all their messages selectively and turn this into a class issue. So while hanging out in the elite, the sphere that is yours, make an effort to say that they're just making a privileged stink out of nothing. And accuse them. You know, in the reversal, you then make an effort to accuse them and turn them into the abuser, and then you become the victim. So, you know, yelling, telling them they're privileged, they speak too much English, and if somebody's been smart enough to do something like record a Zoom meeting or a call, just start screaming that this is so unethical because, my God, they can't do this. We don't want them to have proof with the blind eye we turn to the bully, do we? So we must call them abusive and belligerent in that, you know, they don't respect their elders and they don't understand the hierarchy, and they, you know, and they're mad. They're batshit crazy for even thinking there's something wrong with us or that we've done anything wrong. Make an effort to bully their mothers and their families as well. Now, of course, sometimes violence is necessary, but not extreme violence, you know, a little bit. Just a little bit. Not too much, just enough. So for that, we have a division called a slap a woman division. It's called the almost slap. So it's an excellent technique. So what you do is you yell, and if somebody is not backing down, one of the resident bullies lunges towards them with a hand raised and then is stopped at the last minute. And you know, it's planned in a way that they stop, but the fear of God has to be instilled into the victim who has been turned into the person we are now accusing, right? And don't actually slap, so that you can say, lagi to nahi na, lagi to nahi. Very important. And once you've done that, it is also very important to justify it and celebrate it, because it is such a big achievement to almost slap someone, you know, it's an excellent tool. So you congratulate the attacker in front of the victim repeatedly on how amazing she is for even doing such a thing and for shutting it down and somehow turn it into a class issue. And if the victim is stupid enough to keep screaming and speaking up, gaslight them as they're doing it in real time. I have this astounding ability to rewrite history as it happens, and it's just very important to do that. So the victim is like, what the hell? It's very important to do that and keep insisting it never happened. And of course, it's very important that she breaks down and cries so that you can prove she's crazy, because look, she's crazy. She's not even strong enough to handle an almost slap. How will she handle an actual slap? How will she handle the real world? So once you have fully satisfied that she's absolutely crazy and you're done with it, then you absolutely ignore her and abandon her, and you let the world know this is some privileged nonsense and tantrum, and that she's also pulling her pharmaceutical contacts to pretend she got sick. I mean, all the doctors are in her family's payroll. And the final step is to make sure that the attacker takes over whiff entirely and is present at all meetings and speaking loudly, and also using ChatGPT, leaving the quotation marks up in long rants about how they never hit anyone and how it's very important that this rewritten history become history, but they never did it. Also, you know, maybe use the word lawyer in an email or two to sort of trigger some kind of fear, and obviously keep reminding them that they fought Zia and they've done nothing in their lives. And yeah, that's it. That's it from me, from the playbook called Zilalit. Remember, I fought Zia so I could become Zia.